I've never seen such tiny pizzas. This must be how that McDonald Crump dude got to be a multi-bazillionaire.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have fond memories of wearing my Michelangelo shirt to school, slurping down 4 turtle pies worth of pudding power, tornado kicking off a lunch table, and screaming surfer lingo like a goddamn poser. Those are all symptoms of late-stage turtle mania, by the way. I could have died. The Turtles have been a favorite of sticky-fingered latchkey kids for over 3 decades, but they actually started out as hard-boiled, brutal comic book assassins.
Bandito Bustin' Mike always bashes the bad guys.
Old habits die hard, and every so often, they accidentally get back to their fucked up roots. I'm talking about the cartoon villain who may have predicted the rise of fascism in America.
That unpatriotic dude.
Shredder's international quest for MILFs, and the subtle blowjob joke that the Turtles told on Oprah.
Not me! Oprah! Oprah! No!
This is the new CanonBall. I don't want to get into it, but I lost my old lifeguard job and had to move back into my mom's place. Okay, it's not that I can't swim, I just think a please would be nice if you're asking me to swim out into a riptide. We all got stuff going on. Anyway, it's no secret that a lot of Ninja Turtles canon exists mainly to sell choking hazards to toddlers. The toy company Playmates is the whole reason the original animated series exists. So the cartoons were just a slurry of colors and karate chops designed to milk money out of confused and exhausted boomer parents, right? I mean, just look at the bad guys. A blob of cheese named Pizza Face, a basketball-playing giraffe named Half Court, Donald Goddamn Trump. Yeah, man, there were no less than 4 Ninja Turtles villains based on this fucking guy. Obama! The first Trump monster was Fenton Q. Hackenbrush, a shady real estate developer who enlists an army of blue-collar laborers and executive lackeys to go out and crime things up on his behalf.
Well, what crimes do you know?
Embezzlement?
No.
This episode is actually one big mutants as immigrants allegory.
What are you, some kind of foreigner?
As a matter of fact, I am.
Hackenbrush wants to turn public opinion against mutants, thereby harnessing grievance for personal gain. So when he bumps into the angry and dim-witted Slash, he gets right to work January 6thing him, convincing him to mount an attack on a symbol of democracy.
The Freedom Bell, the city's most beloved landmark. Just go there and smash it. And smash everything you can on your way there.
Now, this lumpy bag of ham is Donald J. Lofty, Hackenbrush's boss. When Hack fails in his attempt to fly garbage into outer space, Lofty very publicly threatens to beat his ass with a cane. He even coins Trump's signature phrase.
Person, woman, man, camera.
Not that one, this one.
And you are fired!
14 years before The Apprentice aired. They also made him look awfully similar to this fucking guy.
No, sorry, dude. I'm not up on my eccentric billionaires.
That's Donald's father, Fred Trump, the man who handed him his career and, as Lofty did to Hackenbrush, castigated him for his failures while shielding him from any real consequences. Now, McDonald Crump is the fat-necked, over-tanned goofball asshat we all thought was Trump's final form in the 90s. Crump licensed his name to a cheap pizza joint that the Turtles fucking hate.
I've never seen such tiny pizzas.
The chintziest chain of pizza parlors in the world.
Rip-off city.
And is actually just a front to get people to go to his birthday party, which is like kind of the whole vibe of Mar-a-Lago. If McDonald Crump is the doofus who descended the golden escalator in 2015, this guy, A.J. Howard, is the maniac who actually became president. It's no surprise that this dude also hates mutants, aka immigrants.
And why is business down? Because this city is crawling with mutants.
And enlists the help of a violent sociopath to clean up the city.
Mutants are the problem. And Dirk Savage is the solution.
Dirk Savage is basically Stephen Miller if he'd been doused with radioactive ooze as an infant instead of Nair. A.J. Howard even convinces half the city to wear his fascist fashion accessory, a Down with Mutants bracelet that's just a slightly more on-the-nose MAGA hat. Having literally branded themselves, even his most casual supporters find that they're compelled to do his evil bidding.
I must obey the will of A.J. Howard.
This episode came out in 1987, but let's not dwell on bummers. I promised to tell you about the time Raphael made a blowjob joke on daytime television, and I'm a man of my word. word.
Oprah, I've been trying to talk her into an interspecies relationships for months now.
If you're not familiar, Coming Out of Their Shells is a legitimately pretty rad rock opera, a live stage show that was performed all over the world. It's nearly 90 minutes of butt rock songs about surfing in doo-doo, the healing power of pizza, and skipping stones, punctuated by some A-plus crowd work from the guy in the shredder suit.
Shut up, you imbecilic little punoids!
He is having the time of his life.
Is that your mom? How would you like a one-way ticket to my Technodrome?
To promote it, the guys who operated the Turtles went on a media blitz, staying in character as they chatted with the likes of Oprah and Regis and Kathy Lee. Now, the characters were operated by a team of 2 people, one guy ad-libbing lines from backstage, and another guy in the suit trying to anticipate what was being said. So when Oprah, in a room full of little kids, decided to ask,
is there anything like romantic or anything?
Just based on body language, I don't think the guy in the raft suit expected to hear this coming out of his own mouth.
The biggest problem is she can't hold her breath long enough, you know?
Now, to be fair, I'm not actually 100% sure whether that was an oral sex joke or a traditional sex joke. I'm sure DeviantArt could clear that up. The real victim here is poor April, the only party involved who had to suffer through that ordeal with a straight face. This franchise does have a complicated history with its Aprils, but that's a story for another day.
And the good thing about these guys is that they're not black or white, they're green.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a vintage 1991 turtle pie in the microwave that should be just about ready. Wow, that is not supposed to be crunchy. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode of the new CanonBall. Hop in the comments and let me know if there's more sensual turtles canon I should look into, or if you have any expired branded pastries you'd be willing to part with.